Hi students, welcome to lesson 7 of medical terminology. Lesson 7 is our last easy lesson, so to speak, in the sense that in the after the first few chapters in which you had to learn a lot of prefixes and suffixes of Greek nouns, you had a series of few chapters with only vocabulary to memorize. This is the last one because then with lesson 8 we will move on to formation of terminology from Latin, so there will be another series of prefixes and suffixes to learn. So you will have 2 or 3 chapters a little bit more demanding. But for the moment, chapter 7 is still sort of easy with a longish vocabulary this time, but still only vocabulary, no additional suffixes and prefixes. So on page 75 and 76 you have the vocabulary, and I made also a handout to have it handy with again examples that you can write yourself with the words that are most useful for you to memorize, to remember a meaning. Okay, look very carefully also at the boxes on page 76, where you have the word plasty and tropism. That form a series of terms that are useful, plus 4 here at the bottom that form instruments, names of instruments, so those to memorize as well. And as usual on page 77 read with attention the etymological notes that are interesting to understand sort of the mythological nature of some terms. There is really nothing too difficult to memorize in the vocabulary. I just want you to pay attention in this to a few things. In this chapter you will memorize the form ped, with which you are familiar with, for example, from pediatrics. Okay, ped, that means child, from the Greek pais, paidos. And the alpha iota has become, which is long, has become an E in English, pais, paidos. Not to be confused with what you have already studied, pod, meaning foot, okay, that comes instead from the Greek foot, pous, podos, rather than paidos, okay? So ped, child, and pod, foot, okay? Try not to confuse these two, okay? One interesting word of this vocabulary is the combining form pti from spit, okay? From the verb ptein, which means spit, which is one of those words that are called onomatopoeic words, from onomatopoeia, okay, this word onomatopoeia that comes from the verb poiein, that means to make, that you have already encountered, and onomatos, which is the name, so making names, which is the creation, which refers to words that are trying to imitate sounds, okay, so pti. It's trying to imitate the sound of the spitting, so it's an onomatopoeic word. And in the etymological notes, this book gives you an example of one of the most famous onomatopoeic examples of this phenomenon, that comes from a fragment of an epic poem of a Latin poet of the 2nd century BC called Ennius, which has left for us this famous line imitating the terrible sound of the trumpet, okay? And the line goes, Attuba terribili sonitu taratantara dixit, okay? So this taratantara that gives, it's trying to imitate the sound of the trumpet, and the whole line with the repetition of the sound T tries to do the same, okay? Attuba terribili sonitu taratantara dixit. Okay, this is just a curiosity to remember the word pt, okay, for spit. Okay, so this is it for chapter 7.